graphic nature of this program, listener discretion is advised.
I don't say it because I don't say dirty words, but it seems to me that that so-called dirty word is probably the most useful word in the English language. Because it could be a verb, it could be a noun, it could be anything. Say, that fucking thing, that's no good, you know. Or you can say, fuck you, that makes it a verb, right? And no matter how there's no sentence where you couldn't use it to great advantage. And I'm going to start a movement. I want to legalize and legitimize the word fuck. One of the great words in any language.
I think we just need an Excelsior.
Excelsior! No, that's not right. Excelsior! Fucking fantastic. You get that fist up in the air, you weren't looking, your head was down. I want your head up when I throw my fist in the air. I want you paying attention. I don't want you looking there when I'm emoting. Jesus! What the fuck's going on here? What the fuck are you all standing around for? Oh, shit. Fuck you.
Stay the fuck at home.
Your podcast will fail.
It's just a coincidence that you were talking about the Jack and Triumph show and I'm here. Thank you so much for having me on your podcast.
Hey man, this is Kevin Smith, guy who makes all those unlistenable podcasts over at smodcast.com, and you're listening to the Two Strangers One Podcast. This is podcasting.
You're listening to Two Strangers One Podcast. Subscribe to us on iTunes or on the Stitcher app for Android devices. Please visit twostrangersonepodcast.net. Now, here's Chris Cologne and Paul Pasquillo.
Well, hello and welcome to Two Strangers One Podcast. I'm Chris.
I'm Paul.
And Paul, you know, this podcast started 9 years ago.
Mm-hmm.
Well, just about 9 years ago. We're a couple of weeks away from the anniversary on 420, man.
Oh, gee.
And who would have thought? Now, of course, 420 just happened to be like the day we did it. It wasn't on purpose, because anyone who listens to the show knows I'm not exactly the biggest weed proponent. But as we're recording this, just 8 hours ago or 10 hours ago, according to CNN.com, marijuana has been now legally made and decriminalized or legalized in New York for recreational use.
For adults 18 and up, I believe it is.
Oh yeah, of course. I mean, that's weird. 18 and up, like not 21 and up.
I think it's 18 and up. You'd have to read the article, but the last time I knew it was that.
Well, but I'm saying, isn't that interesting that like you could get stoned at 18, but you can't get drunk until you're fucking 21?
Yeah.
That's rather interesting. And I knew something was up because, all right, so we're recording this like on Wednesday night, March 1st,
mm-hmm.
which is my mother's birthday. Happy birthday, Mom.
Happy birthday, Mom.
And so like on Monday, I needed to run into the bodega to grab something. And I generally don't go to the bodega. That's not my thing, but I needed to go grab some last minute thing. And it's a bodega that I go to on occasion, and they had big stickers all over the place. Cannabis this, cannabis that. And there was all types of like, oh my God, the cat's having a fucking heart attack. There were all types of like, they were already selling like marijuana products or whatever, because it was saying cannabis, big stickers and stuff like that. So
I can't think of what it is, but there's certain things that you can sell cannabis wise.
Yeah.
Speaking of cat, she's like right by my mic, so you're probably going to hear noises. But there's certain things you can sell already. So that could be what it is.
Like edibles or something, like gummy and shit.
Yeah, I think so. I'm not sure. I don't remember what it was, but
I can't believe it in my lifetime that, like, you know, I mean, I knew it was going to happen. I honestly thought it was going to happen a lot later.
You know what?
I thought I'd be like 65.
You know what started along was the fact that obviously New York State needs revenue. And, you know, if you think about it, I'll be honest with you, they can't really raise tax anymore. And honestly, this is the only really way that they can generate any cash. So that's why, that's kind of why I think they're doing it. Also, Cuomo probably trying to do something big in case he has to leave office.
Please ignore the fact that, you know, that I have like a million accusations of kissy face. But I mean
we'll
look,
get into that
he's
a little bit later.
he's a Goomba, he's a fucking Italian. I kiss the girls. That's what fucking happens. I grab her face, I grab her by the fucking face.
Have you noticed that they're all pretty much have you noticed like they're all kind of the same?
I haven't seen any of the accusers on TV because I don't watch the news. I watch the news and I get fucking depressed.
Yeah, so that's the thing. Like I see all these accusers come out, and I'm like. So
what, they're all are they goombets? Are they all like
I think
are they all like
a lot of people actually,
dark-haired?
like my mom said to me the other day, she's like I really think that this is just like Trump trying to get him out of office or something. I'm like, it could be, but see, that's the thing. Like, a lot of us think that it's just, I mean, I'll say the quiet thing out loud, that if this was really an issue before, why didn't you come out before? Now, so, and here's another thing, Chris. I don't think Cuomo's that stupid, so he's got to have something on most of women that he probably, that's why he feels so confident staying in his position, because he's got something as women.
Okay.
That's just
I just Googled it. Well, and I Googled it, and it's like, eighth woman accuses. I mean, I don't know how old this article is, and they have pictures of. I mean, they're all pretty girls, okay, mind, and not that that's just because they're pretty, it's okay for grab their face, but
right.
What he had said before, and once again, it's not really a defense, but it is a cultural thing. Italians, certain people are very in your fucking face.
Well, and
some people kiss and hug and they grab your head and they grab your face, and by today's standards, it's very fucking aggressive. But if you were raised that way, I mean, of course he's a man in a public spotlight and should fucking know better. But also part of me is like, what is, you're making a mountain out of a molehill. A guy grabbed your face or some shit like that.
Right.
And
if
this was 20 years ago, 30 years ago, that wouldn't have been an issue. But now everything is fucking Me Too times up.
And there was a lady the other day that came out, and she had a picture of her and Cuomo, whatever, like, I guess they were embracing or something. And he even signed the picture for her. And now all of a sudden that's sexual harassment. I'm like, You can't, like, and that's what diminishes a lot of this. Is like it feels like, especially the New York media is like has this like obsession with Cuomo, trying to get him out of office, and it's so bad that like I turned off CNN for a while.
Have you seen, they have in Rochester, I've seen the billboard. There's at least one billboard that I saw in person saying like Cuomo resign or some shit like that. Well, and these fucking people have a real fucking hard on.
And it doesn't make any sense to you, because it's like, I'm trying to think. So they had an article, and this is different from sexual accusations. Cuomo had his family tested early on in the COVID crisis, and I'm like, yeah, his brother had COVID. Wouldn't you get them tested? Shut the hell up and move on. Oh, by the way, he's the governor of the state. Governors and any politician should have been tested early on, and should be testing people around them early on, so they know if they're going to get it, or if they should quarantine or whatever. That's not a news story.
Yeah, especially if you're the kind of person you're giving news conferences, you're literally meeting with people every day.
I'm like, you're gonna test family. Of course you're going to do. Like, shut the fuck up. Stop trying to like throw dirt on a pile that's already there. Like. And that's why, like, that's really why, Chris, like, I'm like, do the investigation, find out what happened. By the way, we all know that not Chris Cuomo, Andrew Cuomo, the governor, is an asshole. We already know that. And from all the accusations that I've heard so far, it sounds like he's just being an asshole. Or another quiet thing that's said that people don't say out loud, and I'm sure a lot of people that listen to this podcast would agree, let's see. I would say men over the age of 50, maybe 55 or older, have a different way of treating women than men of my age and your age, because they were taught completely different. They were taught certain things were okay to do. Like, for example, I hate to use Biden and Biden looking like he's sniffing somebody or whatever. Like, like it's those kinds of things that back then were fine and were okay, that now are seen as a no-no. And, my thing is, are we talking about Cuomo doing those kinds of things where he says things that could come off as sexual harassment, but really they're not, and he just needs to go through a training course to know what he should be saying and what he shouldn't be saying? Because that's what they do in business a lot, is you may have somebody that said something that maybe that is taken as sexual harassment, but they didn't know that it was sexual harassment. So what they do is they say, look, you're going to get written up, but you're not getting fired, and you need to go for a training course. You know what I mean? So Like,
And say
for
grab
me,
him by the pussy.
well, and then that's the thing. Like, I'm like sitting here going, like, you don't convict a guy that grabbed a woman by the pussy, and by the way, that was multiple women, like maybe whatever, 20, 30, whatever you want to call him. Oh, by the way, we have him on tape saying it. And then you go to Cuomo and you look at him and you go, well, this guy, I mean, okay, maybe he made some comments, maybe he did all this other stuff, but he didn't grab you, he didn't rape you, he didn't assault you. Like, is it really what you're saying it is, or is it just him being an asshole or thinking what he's saying is okay, but it's not?
Yeah, I mean, that's a lot of stuff. A lot of stuff when you look through the lens of today, you get a little cringed. And once again, like literally 10, 15 years ago, a lot of this behavior was still acceptable or still kind of commonplace.
Exactly.
Not meant with the intention to make anyone uncomfortable. Quite the opposite. That's how you endear yourself to somebody. And once again, I'm not saying it's right. I'm just saying is that things have changed. And, this happened 8 years ago. Well, shit, 8 years ago.
Why didn't you report it?
It was a different world 8 years ago.
Right. And if it was that bad 8 years ago, why didn't you report it? You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Like, and don't give me this BS about, well, I didn't, I was intimidated. Were you intimidated, or did it really not matter to you? And now all of a sudden you want your 5 minutes of fame. That's another thing that, like, is it like there was a reporter that she said 7 years ago he was mean to her or something, and I'm like, okay, but if it was really that offensive, why didn't you report it? And again, that's why an investigation is important. If some of these things are real and there wasn't anything else in the context, so say like some of these girls reported him, but nothing was done about it, okay, then we need to find the people that didn't do anything about it and fire them or bring them up on charges or whatever. There's a lot of questions like, okay, so let's say some of this was true and it was reported, but Cuomo never knew about it, number one, and number two, nothing was done about it. Do we blame him, or do we blame the people that, didn't do anything about it and didn't try to say to the governor, hey, you need to change some of the stuff that you're doing? Like, you see what I'm saying? Like, you can't really do that. And by the way, we're talking about Republicans too. Like, Republicans aren't, there's a couple of Republicans like, Gantz now, like, apparently dated a 17-year-old.
Oh yeah, I was watching. And it's so and the whole thing. It's the people who are pointing the fingers that are like probably the most guilty.
You got him. You got Jim Jordan. Like, let some shit happen when he was a wrestling coach. You have that handicap guy. He's a new Republican House member. I mean, talk about fucking karma. Whoa.
Yeah. These guys,
he took them on joyrides, and this is when he had use of his legs, obviously. I mean, talk about some karma, man. Ooh. So I mean, and you got proof. Like, you have proof that shows this, and that's the biggest thing with me. So I mean, I need to make this clear. If he did something really, really scandalous and it comes out in this report, then yeah, he needs to step down. But if it was just him being an asshole, retrain him, and that's it. Like, we need to start investigating these things. And I hate to say this, even though I hate some of the Republicans, like, we need to do the exact same thing for everybody. Democrats, Republicans, independents, whatever party comes up in the near future, everybody. If something comes out, it's like a criminal court. It's like a criminal case. Like, somebody accuses you of doing something, you get brought up on charges, and then you have a right to defend yourself. Why can't you have the right to defend yourself if somebody says you sexually assaulted them or sexual harassment or whatever? You know what I mean?
Yeah.
So it's just one of those things where you go, okay, let's just do the investigation and find out. And especially with how hard the New York media has come down on Cuomo, I need an investigation to see what the truth is, because you guys are just having like a stiffy out for them, or trying to.
Of course, they pile on as soon as they can. Like, and it's just in the news in general, like even just because it feels like scandalous.
It feels like they're trying to find something like what was going on with Trump to get rating. And that's just unacceptable.
Juicy story. Oh, he's grabbing them.
And there was something else I was gonna, and I'm trying to think of what I was gonna say about it, and then just end it there. But it's it just gets to me, because it's like, the dude has been in the public eye. Cuomo has been in the public eye for the whole COVID process, and now all of a sudden you're pissed about him sexually assaulting you. You should have said something before. Like, I'm not trying to take it away from these women, but we're in the Me Too movement. you have no excuse not to say anything. Like that Lindsay Boylan, I think is her name, Boylan, which was one of the accusers. She said that she reported it. Apparently, according to her employee file, which they released, which, by the way, I think they have the right to release if reporters ask. Apparently, she had made some really she had done some really bad things, or not really bad things, but fireable things, and that may have been the reason why she reported what apparently he did. So, you gotta kind of let these investigations, just let them go, let them do what they need to do. And by the way, I hate these politicians. Oh, we're all just gonna say that he needs to step down. How did that work out for you? Because he's still there. So I just want the investigation to work itself out, find out if he did anything, and let's move on. If he did, impeach him. If he didn't, then he gets to keep his job. Oh, and by the way, if we're gonna talk about Cuomo with the sexual harassment and apparently leaving out nursing home numbers, why aren't we talking about the Florida governor who doctored all of his numbers? And why aren't we talking about the California governor who fucking screwed up so badly his COVID plan that LA blew up into a huge hotspot? You know what I mean? Like, if you're gonna sit there and have a stiffy for the New York governor, why aren't we having a stiffy for these other governors? Just because Republicans aren't holding the guy in Florida accountable, or Democrats aren't going as hard against the California governor as they are Governor Cuomo? Like, come on, be fair about the coverage. You know what I mean? Like, that's when the media really gets to me, is when they do shit like that and they're not fair about it. Oh, and don't
Grandma.
Go ahead.
Grandma's dead, but hey, toke up.
Yeah, exactly.
Grandma's dead, smoke a bowl. A little bit of housekeeping before we get. I want to thank our numbers. We did a little bump in numbers from the last episode, only because I had made a post on. Okay, do you remember WandaVision? Did you watch WandaVision at all? And this isn't nerdy news. This just has to do with the show.
I haven't watched it yet.
Okay, well, on the last episode of WandaVision, there was a screenshot of Paul Bettany plays the Vision, and he's wearing, he's in civilian clothes, and it's the Vision, with the full makeup and everything like that, but the character itself is wearing, a very form-fitting turtleneck shirt or whatever, and that image blew up on Black Twitter. For those who know, there's Twitter and there's Black Twitter, and people they took a picture, they photoshopped the do-rag on Vision, and they photoshopped the gold chain around his neck because he was wearing and he's standing in his hand, he has his hand right on his stomach, and they were saying his name isn't Vision anymore, his name is Vashon. And so there was a bunch of photoshops going around, and so I had made a Photoshop where there's a character from one of the earlier episodes where she's sort of the uptight woman that sort of all the housewives are scared of, because she's sort of, she's the alpha housewife, and so they're all scared of her. So I had made a Photoshop where they had a Vision as Vashon, and then Wanda, I forgot what they did with Wanda, but then they took Wanda and they Photoshopped as if her hair had cornrows, and then the third picture is the one I made, where I Photoshopped, and it was that uppity, in your face, nosy neighbor, the white lady, holding a phone that said 911. And so the Photoshop that I did, I blew up on Black Twitter for a little while. So a whole bunch of people added me on Twitter, and so I would like to say hello and welcome to any new listeners, especially the ones who we've met from Black Twitter. So just thank you, enjoying the podcast. Thank you for boosting our numbers for this one episode.
Also, I'm sorry that
please keep coming back.
I'm sorry that Chris is an asshole. So just.
Oh yeah, I'm a terrible scumbag, but for anyone, and all our new listeners in general, welcome to the show. Once again, we are literally weeks away from our 9-year anniversary. The one thing I also do kind of have to apologize, and I've noticed this for the past couple episodes, is I'm a fat fuck. I also have a really good microphone. So I've noticed my breathing in the past couple of episodes. And I'm a fat fuck. I went to the doctor today, as a matter of fact, and I'm the heaviest I've ever been in my life. And this is coming from someone who, at one point, I had the gastric bypass surgery. And at my heaviest, before today. At my heaviest, I was 365. I had the Roux-en-Y gastric bypass surgery back in 2006. I went all the way down to like 185. I was literally half the man I was. Made a couple bad life decisions. So c'est la vie. That's how life is. Stress ate. Well, look, I'm trying to get fucking things back in order. But over the past 9 years, as I've been recording this podcast, I've slowly fucking put the weight back on, and I'm 377, my last, as of the doctor's appointment today. My blood pressure is not great, but it's not considered high blood pressure. My pulse is okay. But one thing, I have noticed the past couple episodes, and if it bothers people, I apologize. I'm trying to see if there's a way for me I have the microphone above, like, my nostrils. So I'm not breathing directly into the microphone. And I never did. I always had the microphone in front of me. But I apologize if you hear my heavy breathing. I'm a fat fuck. Fat fucks breathe heavy. So, and also it's a curse when you have really good microphones. Really good microphones pick up all of it. So if you hear my breathing during the episode or whatever the case may be, my apologies. All right, so let's keep it moving, Paul. Where are you on your shots? I'm one shot in, and I'll get my next shot in. I'll get my next shot in a couple days.
Yeah, I'm a week out from one shot, and I have another shot in like just after the middle of April. So.
Well, because you're like 9 years younger than me. Like the day after my shot, I was, and I mean, I've heard sort of people, they get the shits or they whatever. I was just like, I felt physically exhausted. Like that, the next day, like I got my daughter ready for school, which nowadays, basically just turning on the fucking laptop. I mean, I got her ready for school, whatever, and then I went right back to bed, and I just couldn't get out of bed the rest of the day.
Which one did you get? Pfizer or
I got the Pfizer. For some reason,
I got Moderna for reason. I don't know why Walgreens was giving that, but whatever. Well, first of all, I found out I could get one because I was still considered diabetic, even though I'm not. So even if you're like slightly diabetic or whatever, you can still get the shot. So that's why I was able to get the shot, because my doctor said, yeah, you can go get it because you're on the scale, so you might as well just go get it.
Yeah, I mean, and it's not, obviously, I mean, I don't know your business. I mean, you're not diabetic, but I mean, it's a little overweight, a little chunky, a little chubby, shit. That's, that qualifies in my opinion.
Well, so I was able to get the first shot. I was sore. So it was like 24 hours of soreness, and I also had, I think it was either tiredness or where I was just like, but then like after 6 o'clock, I was good. I was wonderful. So, I mean, that was about it. I mean, I've heard, the second shot is supposed to be like, could give you the flu, and I'm just like, ugh, well, all right. So, that'll be interesting.
Yeah,
but
there's Pfizer, there's Moderna, there's Johnson & Johnson, and then I have a friend that everyone's posting their pictures of like when they get their shots, they hold your card or whatever.
Yeah, I did that too. If you saw me on Instagram.
And I had a friend in England. They're doing. It's funny because they don't have AstraZeneca in the United States, and I've heard of that company. Like I know it's a company that makes like medicine and stuff like that, but I heard, I noticed that's what it said on the bottom, it said AstraZeneca, and I'm like, and it's funny, and then I looked, did some research, and okay, so it's technically like, it hasn't been approved in the United States yet, but it shows that there's other companies trying to, we had Pfizer and Moderna and Johnson & Johnson.
There's that company that you just said, and then I think there's one or two more. But the thing is even with just the 3, we're going to be able to vaccinate everybody by the end of May probably. So, I mean, that's pretty good. You know what I mean? So
yes, for the people that are willing to get fucking vaccinated.
That's true.
That's what this is going to be. The next fucking wave is going to be the people who, I was listening to, I saw a YouTube video and it said that I don't have to get vaccinated. So we're going to, I don't want to talk about, I don't want to think about it now, but it's going to get to the point where right now, there's people, and like, as in for New York State, at least, if I'm not mistaken, like it was either today or yesterday, like in New York State, anyone over the age of 30 right now can qualify for, before it used to be, you needed comorbidity, whatever the case may be. You needed issues to get the shot. Now it's, hey, you over 30, here, take the fucking shot. But now, we're going to get to the saturation point where all the willing people all the free thinking, forward thinking people get their shots, and then there's now wait till we hit that fucking point where I don't feel like I need to get the shot. And that's going to be the next fucking wave of bullshit that we have to fucking deal with. Yeah. We're like, I don't think I need the shot, and so, I'm bracing myself for that fucking frustration. Because it's gonna happen. We're gonna hit that fucking point, But first it's like, and then like, I saw a thing like on Facebook, like, and it's also like, we got people. It's out of my hands, but we have to make sure that fucking people in third world countries and shit also, people in the poorest parts of the world also get the shot. So it's not like this shit. Gets the new strain or whatever, and comes back, fucking 3 times stronger, 10 times stronger, or whatever the case may be. So but we have to get it through fucking people's heads that yes, take the microchip, let Bill Gates control you. At least we'll all live in our fucking Microsoft utopia. Let Bill Gates put the fucking nanobots inside of you. 5G network, yes, all of that. Let the government control you, because then we'll all be fucking happy. Live in the fucking Matrix, because there's people like I don't there's this great there's this really halfway decent it's called Into the Storm. It's a documentary on HBO Max about like the QAnon people. And I wonderful segue into other stuff that I had in my notes. Once again, it's this documentary called Into the Storm, and it's all about QAnon people, and this all kind of goes into the whole like the guys who fucking bum rushed the Capitol, the insurrectionists, and like that. The origins of all this shit comes from fucking okay, so I'm learning myself from the documentary that the guy Q, who's someone allegedly who has high government clearance and access to Donald Trump allegedly, and Q level clearance was some shit I never fucking heard of. That sounds like something out of a James Bond fucking movie. Q level clearance. And they're on this website called 8chan. Now, I remember 4chan. Like, 4chan, 4chan was always like, that was the fucking site, like, oh shit, those are the people, 4chan was like, fucking, like, look, that's where fucking pedophiles go. That's where, like, people look at fucking child pornography or like, ridiculous fucking Asian, if you want to see porn where it's like, it's like hentai, like Asian, like Japanese pornography where the girls have like tits and dicks at the same time, and Jesus. Furry porn and all types of crazy shit. Or if you want to see, you want to see, the most ridiculous bloody crime scene photos that you can't find it at any other site. To me that was 4chan. 4chan was always like that crazy wild frontier website. And I guess, when you watch the documentary, 4chan after a while got so fucking crazy that they needed moderator. So then, the next generation started and they called this thing called 8chan. Because I guess apparently before that there was a thing called 2chan, 4chan, 8chan. And so 8chan is like, it's the site and host servers overseas and it's, and it's one of those deals where like, oh, let free speech run rampant. Let people say whatever the fuck they want to say. Now, meanwhile, it's, all the shit that's going on these sites where there's like no moderation whatsoever, it's inciting people and spreading misinformation and getting people.
Well, didn't they take that website down though?
I mean, if they did, they haven't gotten to it in the documentary, because I'm not the biggest follower of like, once again, I mean, of course, okay, my source of information is fucking bullshit documentary, but I don't know if this 8chan is still up.
No, I don't think that one's on anymore, but I don't know that for sure.
But I mean, it just comes to show. Now, mind you, these are sites, when they had the guy in Australia or something like that, Queen's Church or Christchurch or whatever, where like he live streamed it, and I unfortunately, someone sent me the video and I watched it because just out of pure fucking horrendous curiosity of like the guy like the camera was like mounted to his fucking gun, and he walks into a mosque and just starts killing people, and he has this thing. He has like a flashlight on the front of his in front of his weapon, where it's sort of like a high beam strobe light. So if you're looking at it, you're looking at what the high, like, disorients. You have no idea what the fuck's going on. And he walks into a fucking mosque and is gunning down the people that are inside the mosque. And it's the most ridiculous thing. And then and then there's people, like some people even like pretending to be dead. And then he goes and he fucking walks over to the bodies and shoots them. And that was a guy who was on fucking 8chan. And he's like, oh, you know, he put up all types of crazy manifestos and shit. And then like the people on 8chan, since it's not moderated or anything, people are like, oh, they go do it, pussy. You know, you're going to shoot the people, then do it. Stop being a fucking pussy and just do it. And they kind of egged him on. Don't get me wrong, you know, he was obviously had a fucking couple of screws loose. But, you know, it's this like weird, like, when you have this, oh, let the internet be what the internet is, and let, you know, the cream will rise to the top, and all this other bullshit, and all this, and free speech. Yeah, and then crazy shit like this happens. You know, you can't have total unfettered, untouched shit, because this is the kind of shit that happens. Because you let the dummies in. You know, the people forget that, you know, when you want total free speech, yeah, now you're also letting the dummies say what the what the dummies need to say. You know, the cream doesn't rise to the top fast enough, and shit like this happens. You know, and then you see these people, like, you know, all these people the insurrectionists who, like, thought that, like, you know, Donald Trump's going to bail them out, and then
they found out real quick that wasn't the thing.
Yeah, so. And there's these sealed, arrest warrants and stuff like that, and you know, and you know, it's really, you know, and Donald Trump didn't really leave office. He's still our president, but you know, he needed Biden re-inaugurated or whatever. Yeah. And so, and these people, and what they don't understand is that this is an internet troll or trolls or whatever. People that are getting off, having a good time, telling these people, one, what they want to hear. Two, you know, if you throw enough shit at the wall, some of it's gonna stick. This Q person, fucking posts there's like 5,000 posts or whatever, and he'll say this and say that, and obviously he follows the news. You know, that's no fucking woman with this shit. But like, you know, I mean, whoever this Q person is throws tons of shit at the wall. And eventually some of that shit sticks, you know, and they follow the news and all the shit. And then these dummies are like, oh, you see, there's a coincidence. And when he said it like this, and then Donald Trump, and then this, you know, when Q posted at 2:30 and Donald Trump did a tweet at 2:33. So they're obviously the same person. So these people are being so, once again, if you're looking for a fucking connection, you're gonna find it if you look fucking hard enough. Especially when a person makes 5,000 fucking posts, you're gonna, and especially when those posts are made to be manipulative and very, very vague, the dummies will make the connections. Oh yeah. And then you run with that fucking narrative. Mm-hmm. So, and you see people fucking totally brainwashed by this Q person, and it's someone sitting in their fucking mother's basement having fucking good fucking laugh and trying to see how fucking far they can take it. I mean, you know, and it's disrupting fucking democracy. I mean, we had people fucking bum rush the Capitol, but it's infuriating being like watching and you know, they keep focusing, like, you know, right now that I'm on the third there's episodes like an hour each, and they're still focusing on like the origins and all this bullshit, like all this the inner politics of people who run these fucking message boards like 4chan and 8chan and all this shit, and right. Like now it's starting to get a little boring because like I don't care, like they're trying to and when Q posted a picture of a pen and this guy who runs the website, he's a fan of pens, so this guy has to be the Q. It's ridiculous, but you know, these people don't see. Yeah, and this is all like, remember like when Pizzagate, like the guy who went into the fucking pizzeria and started gunning people down, like he shot a gun randomly into a pizza shop because at one point they were saying that, you know, Hillary Clinton and all these other people are lizard people, and
don't start talking about that, man. Like Jesus Christ.
They rape and eat babies at the basement of a fucking pizza parlor. What I'm saying is all that shit comes from the fucking misinformation from people that are so fucking desperate looking for something, you know, that like, you know, they grasp onto it like, oh my god, this is, you know, like someone's being like this person's a savior, he's giving us revelations. No, playing you like a fucking drum. You know, it's just like fucking religion or a cult member. These people are part of a fucking cult, and I don't know, it's just it's really fucked. It's just really fucked. It's sickening. Okay. While we're still kind of on that thing, can we talk about how fucking Georgia now made it illegal to give one person, a human being, to give another human being water?
Yeah.
If they happen to be online to go vote.
That's just.
And I'm like, in the fucking Geneva Convention, and I looked it up because I want, even in the Geneva Convention, when a person's a fucking prisoner of war, that person is still allowed food and beverage, food and drink. So you're gonna tell me that an old lady standing online because you fucking you gerrymandered their district where this person has to go 10 miles away and they're an old person and it's in the fucking Georgia fucking heat, and you made it so a polling place which is usually only handles 10,000 people is now in charge of 25,000 people, so the line is triple the fucking length that it usually is, and now because the old lady is standing in line, another person can't give that old lady water. And let's just say, and now mind you, they put this law into effect. What scumbag cop is going to enforce that law? What scumbag is going to slap fucking cuffs on somebody? Whatever fucking cop does that, and I don't want to get into the whole Derek Chauvin thing because he's a fucking piece of shit, murdering scumbag. And this is coming from someone who loves cops. I'm a fucking bootleg. I love fucking cops. But the George Floyd, the guy who killed George Floyd, he's a fucking piece of shit scumbag. The trial's on right now, and I'm all tense because God knows whatever the fucking if that case doesn't if they don't put that motherfucker under the jail, God knows what riots are going to happen after the fuck. They may riot even if they do put him under the fucks. But what cop is going to enforce that fucking law that you give an old lady a fucking bottle of water that And of course, people are gonna bring their own water and shit like that. But it just it shows you how bad and how desperate these fucking cocksuckers are to fucking make a rule that can't give an old person. You can't. I say old person because who else the fuck else needs water? But they're trying so fucking hard to rig the system in their favor, and it's fucking frustrating. Right. Open carry. I had made a post earlier this week about open carry. These guys who think. They think this is his name. They think they're Charles Bronson and shit. They think they're the fucking the equalizer. The big fucking tough guys running around with their open carry guns when they're walking into a fucking Panera Bread. You know what I'm saying? It's all these guys who live in the middle of fucking white suburbia. Terrified of God knows what, places where nothing happens anyway. And you're in the suburbs carrying, come to the fucking hood. leave your little fucking corner, your little suburb, and play that shit because that shit ain't gonna fuck these guys. They're terrified. And on the flip side, I love cops and I love guns too. I think everybody should fucking have a gun. But there's a responsibility that comes with, and a guy who carries fucking an AR-15 to walk into a fucking Panera Bread. That's overkill. You're an irresponsible gun owner. You're terrified. You're showing your fucking fear. You're showing you're the same way I'm a fat fuck and my heart is on my sleeve and my issues on my sleeve that I have my own issues that I ate myself back into fucking basically death is the same as a person who walks around with a fucking. You're showing the world that you're inadequate. You're showing the world that you've made so many bad decisions in your life that you live in fear. And these are the same people who there's the Venn diagram of people who carry fucking guns, who also fucking, are saved by, I was saved by Jesus. I was raised in Texas, saved by Jesus. Jesus wouldn't want you carrying around an AR-15.
True.
There's no that overlap doesn't fucking exist. Jesus says love thy neighbor, not fucking live in fear and carry around a fucking semi-automatic weapon into the fucking Panera Bread. You're not on fucking patrol. You're not a fucking cop. That's the reason I brought it up, because there was also as soon as fucking COVID, people start getting their shots. We have 2 fucking mass shootings in the past 2 weeks. I'm not going to get into that because I don't even have that in my notes or anything like that. But that's why I had the open carry, is that all these big fucking tough guys, I'm going to stop a fucking crime. Where are all these good guys with a gun when there's someone fucking shooting up fucking Asian rubbing tugs and I forgot the other one, just shot up like a supermarket. And how can you tell the difference? How can you tell the difference between someone walking into a supermarket with an AR-15 to fucking kill people or some inadequate fucking country bumpkin who his God-given right and his Second Amendment says he can carry the fucking gun? How can I tell the difference? If I'm a third person, I can't tell the difference between who's coming in to kill and who's coming in because the little fucking limp dick can't get hard anymore, so they have to carry around an AR-15. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
So you have to prove what a fucking man you are. And once again, this is coming from someone who loves guns. I respect guns and stuff, but it's sort of like, carrying around an AR-15 is irresponsible. Okay. All right, let's lighten up. Let's lighten up the news.
Yes.
The Cinnamon Toast Crunch guy. The Cinnamon Toast, the guy who found shrimp tails in a Cinnamon Toast Crunch. Are you familiar with that story at all?
No, you were telling me that off the pod, but go ahead.
Yeah, and this guy, his name is Jensen Karp, and he's one of these, he wants to be a celebrity so fucking, I didn't know him back then, but I guess he came up as like a wannabe white rapper. He was trying to be like Eminem, but like, he comes from a place like, he was born and raised in like, I'm not 100% sure, but let's say he was like born and raised in Beverly Hills. This guy is, what was that movie with Jamie Kennedy? Malibu's Most Wanted.
Yeah. That was a trashy.
He's like B-Rad. He was raised in a fucking very, very rich, affluent area, but like, wanted to be like a gangster rapper and shit. And how Jensen Karp, how he came into my world was, about less than 10 years ago, he started this thing called Gallery 1988. Where he opened these galleries where he had artists where they would do art about pop culture. And but what the show is about. So like, these people that are talented artists, but they'll, here's a painting about the Big Lebowski, and here's a painting about Ghostbusters, and here's a Darth Vader skull that I spray painted with graffiti, and it looks, and I mean, cool shit, cool artists. And the Jensen Karp was the guy who had the money to open up a gallery, and it was called Gallery 1980. And I'm trying to find the source, but what I had heard is that he was the kind of guy where he'd open a gallery and he'd contact all these art people and stuff like that, like, I'm opening this pop culture art gallery, and then he would sell their art. That's like the people put that shit there to sell their art. But then like when the artist came to actually come and collect their check, he'd, I don't have it right now, or I'll call you next week, or whatever. Like, if you try to get him on the phone and stuff like that, and I don't. And once again, let me just say that allegedly, he's the kind of guy that did shit like that. So that's how I'm familiar with him. I wasn't familiar with him during his rap years when he was under the name Hot Carl. I know him from 1988. This is, he married Topanga from Boy Meets World. Yeah. And around, like, right around the time the pandemic really fucking hit, like, he would live stream with her. They had like a game show that they ran out of their house and stuff like that. And she seems like a nice like that. I think the same way he's a scam artist for everyone else. I think he scammed her into thinking that he's fucking halfway decent. And then also, once again, allegedly, once this story kind of hit the internet about finding fucking shrimp tails and a cinnamon toast crunch, ex-girlfriends came out of the fucking woodwork. Oh, he was abusive. He beat the shit out of me. He used to see, his girlfriend, he told me that I should just kill myself, and that, or if I did kill myself, no one would miss me, and shit like that. Like, he was saying all types of fucking crazy shit. So this guy is obviously has a fucking couple screws, and he's so desperate for fucking attention. And I guess, his internet game went away or whatever, but, so desperate for attention that he has to fucking fabricate a fucking story about finding shrimp tails and fucking cinnamon crunch, and it's one of those deals where, like, he got his little notoriety for a little while, and he sort of faded back into nothingness. But people are, I would love to know the truth. I want to know, what kind of crime scene detective. I want to know if there was actually, if they could prove that there was, cinnamon toast crunch, because it was like shrimp. The tails, but like, the part you don't eat, but coated in cinnamon toast crunch. So I would love for him to be, for them further, I think just two more things before we go to break. There's this great video. The guy's name is Mark Robber, and he puts out a lot of YouTube, and he's most notoriously known for porch pirate glitter bombs, where the people who steal packages from porches, and he built this device where it has like cell phones and GPS trackers and all this shit, and so the people steal the package, and as soon as like you open the package, it sprays fucking fart spray, and it throws glitter all over there's a glitter bomb. It shoots like it's really, really fine glitter that like once it gets in your clothes, you have to fucking wash it 50 times to get it out. It has like 4 like cell phones in it. So at any angle where you open the box, it's going to get a picture of the person in the box. So what happened is, while they were doing these glitter bombs to catch the porch pirates, who like, they see Amazon drop off a package and then they go and grab it. He kind of stumbled onto this whole other scam of people that are they're scam artists from India. Mm-hmm. And what happens is they were calling people and stuff like that, and and they get old people to send them money. And they're like, oh no, your bank has been overdrawn or something like that, and we need you to send the money back. And what they do is they manipulate these old people into signing onto their computer. And have you ever done a remote from your computer? Like you could do things like, if you use certain programs, even like, not Zoom, but I know there's other programs. Yeah, I've done this just work related, where like my boss can sign into my work computer and fucking control my computer from where he's at. You give him remote access like that. And there was one time I did call customer service for something. I needed something, and like the guy was like, okay, we're gonna do this thing where I'm gonna take over your computer. And he did customer, and he did all the drivers for me and shit. Like, I forgot exactly what I was doing. It was a long time ago. And so what they're doing is they get these old people to fucking download programs so the person could take over their computer. And then what they do is they kind of like fake they basically put like a fucking like a text document in front of them, and they're like, okay, what I want you to do is type in your bank information, your bank sign, and the person's, they're acting like they're working for the bank, and I need you to type it in perfectly. Don't mess up the password or anything like that. So now how the glitter bomb comes in is they'll take the money and send the money and they would send the money in a package to some fucking random address. And the reason it was like a random address is because these people have gotten so smart that now they're using like Airbnbs. So the person can have like a temporary address. Oh shit. And so they're using like an Airbnb. The person has a temporary address, and then they have another person there who's what they call a money mule, where they contact other people and they're like, look, the package is going to get there. The package is going to get there at 3:00 or whatever. Amazon is, and they get these old people to mail money to some random address. And then when the package gets there, there's someone already, and then it's FedEx or whoever, UPS, whatever, the post office. Sometimes, have you ever like waited for a package and you get the postman right at the door and like, hey, is that for Paul or whatever? And yeah, it's Paul, and he gives you the fucking package.
No.
And it's, I've done it. And like I usually, whenever I do it, I have like my ID in my hand. But there's been times where. The package comes and like I've been waiting for the package and I happen to be outside and I see the fucking, I see the post office truck on my corner. I'm like, here, do you have a package for Chris? And I have my ID in my hand. And son, if you're confident enough, and the guy will just give you the package. And then those people take the money, they mule the money, they pick it up from like the Airbnb address, and then they go and they send it to, and if they're sending, they'll scam a person out of like $12,000 or whatever, and for each package they pick up, they collect $500. And shit like that. It's fucking ridiculous scam. So, this is one of those deals where like, we live in a world where people are, it's bad enough the politicians and shit like that are brainwashing people, but we also have fucking legit scam artists out there that are telling people that their bank was overdrawn and they sent the money to the person or the wrong thing, and for them to send the money back. And so I believe the guy's name is Mark Robber. Just look up the glitter bomb guy.
Oh, okay.
And it's one of his most recent videos. And like I'm telling people, educate yourself, or if you know an older person that has access to internet and stuff like that. Like luckily, like my mom doesn't have a computer. She couldn't. But it's sort of like they manipulate people into fucking sending the money. And hopefully my mom will never get something like that. And my dad's pretty fucking savvy, fall for a scam like that. But shit like that. But you have to not for
but don't they,
you to show your parents, but like show your parents a video.
When they like your mother's, because obviously I've been to your mom's house before. When they just take it up to her apartment and leave in front of her door.
Well, it all starts. Where my mom lives, they have there's like a locker in the basement, and there's a locker in the lobby.
Oh, okay.
And you could they put the package. They put the package in the locker, and then they take the key out of the locker and put the key in your mailbox.
Oh, okay.
When you have a package,
pretty cool. Yeah.
Yeah,
that's a great idea.
I mean, of course, if you're ordering something bigger than the fucking locker, then you better.
Yeah.
And plus, like my mom's floor, like everybody in mom knows my mom's my mom, and not that she's retired. It's not that she's going anywhere anyway. But I'm talking about like the initial phone call to get the person to think they sent money. You know what I'm saying? It's sort of like, they call enough people where someone eventually is going to pick it up.
Mm-hmm.
Oh, the IRS is after you and need to send the $12,000 or whatever. But they do. I forgot exactly how it is in this scam. They tell people that you sent money to the wrong person or something, and and then the person's like, what? And they tell them, they give them the whole fucking cock and bull story, and then they get these people. So it's just, it's one of those, once again, look up Mark Rober. I think it's, Robber. It's the glitter bomb guy, but I'm just saying is like people need to educate themselves about shit like this. It's like, and I tell my mom, don't fucking anybody in. And she knows, but I mean, it's also just to people in general, People, and look, people get scammed and shit like that, and it's a fucking big industry, for these people, if you scam, in this particular story, I think they were scamming an old lady of like $12,000, and, even with the money mules and with the Airbnb, you invest, let's just say you invest, $2,000, but if you're making a $10,000, if you invest $2,000 in people and you're scamming her out of $12,000, you just made $10,000 at the end, and all is said and done.
Right.
So, all right. So I think with that, we'll be back with more Dick and Fart jokes.
This episode of Two Strangers, One Podcast is brought to you by Comics Etc. 1115 East Main and North Goodman at the Hungerford Building, door number 8. Find out more information at comicsetc.biz or like them on Facebook at facebook.com/comicsetc1.
Did you ever see a film at such a young age it left you traumatized with cinematic wounds? Necrophilia. It's a dead issue, man. Don't push it. Cinema Psyops is a weekly podcast documenting an ongoing experiment on the mind of an unwilling test subject.
No one should have to watch this movie.
Oh, no one should have to watch this?
No one should have to watch this movie.
Surprisingly, it's not a topic that a lot of people really want to tackle.
I'm shocked, prudes.
I know, really.
Right?
It's the next sexual frontier that no one wants to explore.
I am, in the most sincerest of senses, disappointed in you.
It takes a powerful goddess like Connie, jam her arm down the monster's throat and kill it. Oh, I'm still tripping out over that. Even as a kid, I was like, I gotta find a girl like that. Every week, I get a new look of disappointment that I never thought I could get out of it.
Unimaginable. At 12 years old, you should not be watching this movie.
Obviously.
At 13, you should not be. 14, you shouldn't be. I'm not entirely sure even 17-year-olds should be watching this.
Just because you're offended by something doesn't mean that you have the right to demand that it doesn't exist. Watching this film again, I had all of this like little nerd glee with everything that kept
little
popping
history
up.
all popping up
absolutely.
at you.
So I totally loved this film.
Hey, I know why you couldn't see that. It's because your brain's warped watching this shit at 12 years old.
Yeah, this is a rough movie. I told you ahead of time when we were getting ready to do it that it was going to be a rough
How did you watch
one.
this shit at 12?
Because physical wounds heal, cinematic ones don't. Listen to Cinema Psyops.
Victory Championship Wrestling presents Lethal Leap Year, on sale now for $9.99. Don't miss a single body slam or epic moment. Witness the showdown between Big Smooth and Johnny Slaughter for the BCW Championship. Go to bcwaction.com for exclusive events. Only found on bcwaction.com. And as an added bonus, the first 100 people to order this event will receive a free front row seat to the next event.
And we're back. All right, Paul, so let's get to the nerdy news. I guess one of the biggest things, something that's been in the news for a while, that has finally come to fruition, Zack Snyder's Justice League, or released the Snyder Cut, finally came to HBO Max. It feels weird because, it was literally just a week ago. While we're recording this, but, it feels like a million years ago. But, I watched it. I have the other Justice League, or as they called it, the Justice of Joss Whedon. I have that on, DVD. And, it come from, because first, Zack Snyder did Man of Steel, he did Batman v Superman, and then he kind of bowed out halfway through during Justice League because he was having issues with the company, with Warner Brothers, and also, his daughter committed suicide, so he kind of forced his hand to kind of just leave the situation, which Warner Brothers, gave the remains to Joss Whedon. Joss Whedon Frankensteined some, a movie that people fucking hated. What he could have, Zack Snyder stuff, did reshoots that I felt were fucking unnecessary, added shit that I felt was unnecessary. And, then there was word that this Snyder Cut existed or whatever, or at least enough to put together, then when HBO Max came out, especially, I don't think this would have happened without the pandemic going on, but sort of like HBO Max sort of needed that feather in their cap, like, hey, come and you want to watch HBO Max, come watch we have the Snyder Cut, and they threw whatever, another $70 million or $170 million of Zack Snyder.
It paid off for them too.
Oh yeah, and so it came out. So you said you saw it?
I did.
See the Snyder Cut?
I actually saw it the first night it was out on HBO Max, because I get HBO Max free with AT&T. So this is gonna be a little weird for me. Not weird, like some people are gonna probably go, well, why would you want this? But I kind of.
Oh, that's right. Weren't you like anti-movie? Weren't you?
No. I mean, because Justice League
day and date release of movies on streaming services as opposed to movie theaters.
Well, I mean,
but go on. I'm sorry. I'm just busting shots. Go on.
Past a bit, but I can't really explain that on the podcast. But I mean, this obviously was on. This was only on HBO Max. It wasn't in theaters. It never was going to be in theaters. So I was like, fuck it, I'm going to watch it. The first thing that came to mind was, so I watched the 4-hour one, which is the Zack Snyder cut.
Yeah.
I went back and watched the original Justice League, and I felt like I was looking at something and going, why the fuck did Josh Whedon leave so much footage on the floor, so to speak? Like, I mean, I could understand, like, okay, not having Superman in the black suit, that's fine. I can understand, like, for example, I actually kind of like that they didn't kill off Cyborg's father in the original Justice League.
Yeah.
So I could deal with Justice League, whatever.
Justice.
But like, so it was like, I'm sitting here and I'm like, you could have made the original Justice League that came out 10 times better if you would have used even half the footage that is new in Zack Snyder. And it just drives me crazy, Chris. Like, I'm like, I don't get it. Like, I just.
Well, he tried to make it funny. That was like his first. That was like his first thing. Like,
that's one thing. That's one thing I didn't like about Zack Snyder's was, I thought it took itself more seriously than it should have been. Like, there were the funny parts there in the original Justice League that were used. But there were some parts that and I don't know if you saw this. Maybe you have to go back to the original Justice League to kind of see what I was seeing. But I kind of felt like they could have had a lot more humor in Zack Snyder's Justice League. Obviously, this is just what that was cut that came out.
Yeah.
I mean, let's just face it. If that ever came into theaters, it probably wouldn't have been more than 3.5 hours. Probably closer to 3. And I mean, there was stuff in the Zack Snyder that had been cut out, but for me, it was just like there were things that Josh Whedon did, that there were some scenes that he recorded that I went, that would have fit well into Zack Snyder's too. So it was like, it was kind of like, that's why I was kind of like, and the Zack Snyder one too. Sorry, I keep going. I keep not finishing my thought, but the Zack Snyder one, like, you could take that movie, transplant it in, and still have the standalone films that are out there now. So it's like, for me, I'm just like, I don't get how he didn't take more of that footage, put it into the original Justice League, and it probably actually would have been fine. Like,
yeah, he added shit that was fucking Joss.
Well, so like, for example, the Batman scene in the beginning of Justice League, I've heard a lot of people say to me, like, that right there was one of the things that Josh Whedon did well, and they should have probably put in the Zack Snyder. That would have been perfect in the Zack Snyder as well. There was a
scene with the scene with the parademon.
Yeah,
where the parademon explodes. That was so stupid. I mean, I don't know.
Well,
this is my opinion.
The part where they had like where.
Well, I mean, the fact that it explodes, and then the explosion, when it blows up, there's fucking 3 mother boxes.
Right.
That blood. I'm like, that's like.
That part at the end was kind of like, maybe you didn't.
That was the part that was really stupid. Well, in my opinion, it was just totally fucking stupid.
That was to set it up for thing. But like, for example, the one thing that made sense that I didn't really understand why they didn't have, like, Zack Snyder didn't have it in there, was, if you remember in Batman vs Superman, Batman had all these notes, and Josh Whedon brought that over from Batman vs Superman and made it very clear that there were notes and whatnot and whatever. Zack Snyder didn't really do that. And I was kind of like, well, that's a little weird. Like, why wouldn't you have mentioned that Batman has all these notes? So, and I get like the whole 3 mother box thing is kind of weird. And it just didn't make sense. Like, it did make sense because it was relating back to the notes. But, like, I was sitting there and I'm like, I just don't get why Zack Snyder didn't use this. But there again, Zack Snyder's was still made sense the way it was. You know, a lot of the things with Cyborg, like, that should have been in there. Same thing with Flash. I kind of like how they took out, because when you look at it, like, there were some scenes with Aquaman. You didn't really need those scenes. Like
the girl singing when
that was really weird.
The dick is so good. The dick is so good that girls will sing when you leave.
That scene where so the scene where Bruce Wayne is talking to all those people and Aquaman's sitting there and they're just fucking with him. I actually like the way that Josh Whedon did that scene more than I liked how Zack Snyder did it, because, like, there was like a drawing on the wall of like Aquaman in Josh's version where like there was where it showed like kind of like Aquaman and everything like that, and I thought that was pretty cool. And I felt like, and again, that's where I say like some of this shit could have been cut out of Zack's, where like I was just like, well, you know, I think they really went too long with it. So they could have probably taken some of that out or reshot it in a different way. And I think the way Josh did it was perfect. But there again, like, you know, I'm not the filmmaker. But there again, like, you know, I think everybody's kind of getting a picture of like what I'm saying here. Like, what I would like to see. This is something, and I don't know if you would be interested in going back to the original Justice League, putting things in to that Justice League, Zack Snyder, that you could easily input in. Like the Flash scene, like, I'll be honest with you, take out that whole Russian part. These people are running away and trapped and whatever. Take that out.
Which they did, and that was all Joss. That's all the Joss.
Right. That part I was just like, after seeing Zack's, I went, yeah, that. I mean, if this is a nuclear site that's been abandoned, it makes more sense to not have anybody there. So, like, that whole part you can keep. You can keep the whole Black Superman part. You can keep the whole Darkseid thing. I actually liked that part where they had Darkseid and they had his one disciple continue to talk to Steppenwolf, and then Darkseid was talking to him. Like, that gave context to the movie. There was a lot of stuff in that thing that if you would have easily put it into the Josh Whedon Justice League, as people are saying, it would have worked wonderfully.
Yeah, because in Joss Whedon's is like I'm a bad guy and I'm just here to freak. You know, like, they made Steppenwolf like he had no fucking motivation. He's like, I'm here because I want the mother boxes, and like no fucking, like, you know, why he needed the mother boxes. Like, it was so fucking generic bad guy. Yes. Like, I'm here because I need those things and I'm gonna kill everybody until I get them. And then once I get the boxes, I'm gonna kill everybody anyway.
Like, you could take everything that was in. You could take a lot of stuff that was in the Zack Snyder cut, put it into the original Justice League, and it would be 100 times better. And that makes me sit there and go, what the hell was this guy thinking when he did it? You know what I mean? Like, it just doesn't make sense. I love how Flash was one of the main reasons, was one of the center points, I should say. I love how they explained Cyborg a lot better.
Yeah, well, that's the whole thing. Okay, so so one, definitely the Snyder Cut fucking gives us a hell of a lot more Cyborg.
Yeah.
Which, you know, kind of, it ties into the story of like how Ray Fisher, the guy who played Cyborg, said that fucking Joss Whedon sort of like totally treated him like shit, totally dismissed him, totally. And to be honest with you, when I heard that at first, I was sort of like, oh, you know, Ray Fisher comes from Broadway, he's fucking prima donna, and mind you, I love the character Cyborg, but I was like, oh, maybe Ray Fisher has a fucking chip on his shoulder, he's a pain in the ass, or whatever. And then, you know, when you see how much Zack Snyder fucking had, you know, it's a complete story of the Cyborg, of all the things that are going on with Cyborg, you know, and the Justice League, and the Justice League, you know, the Justice League one, it's like he's like the bullshit fucking side character that, like, you know, fucking, you know, you're like a step above fucking background actor, you know, he's there to be there, and you know, and you know, and especially where, you know, the Zack Snyder, you know, had the world had Zack's original movie gone out without Joss Whedon touching it, and originally, or a 2-hour version. Let's just say Zack Snyder cut it down to a 2-hour version. Because remember, this was supposed to be 2 movies. It was supposed to be 2 movies where, once Steppenwolf dies in the first one, then they hint towards Darkseid, and then Darkseid comes in the next movie. It's supposed to be a 2-parter anyway. That's why it's like 4 hours. But for the whole thing with Cyborg was sort of totally cut out. And like you just mentioned a second ago, the Flash front, in the Joss Whedon version, the Flash is a fucking joke. And he's talking about brunch, and, he falls on top of fucking Wonder Woman and his head is between her tits and shit like that. Like, the Flash was a fucking joke. And, okay, in the Zack Snyder version, yes, he's immature and stuff like that, and he's trying, but he's the guy that fucking saves the day. Spoiler alert. He's the guy that, when all is said and done, if it wasn't for the Flash, none of this fucking, the whole fucking, Darkseid would have prevailed and lost everything. You take the goofy fucking character who is, okay, like I was saying, awkward and new to this and all this stuff, where in the Joss Whedon version, Batman's like, save one person, and that's supposed to be like his big inspirational fucking thing. When then you put him in the Snyder Cut, and the Snyder Cut is like, he's a guy, and he runs so fast that he actually has time go backward, and actually ends up saving the day, undoing fucking explosion and shit like that. It's sort of like, it shows that in the right hand, in the Justice League, Flash is a fucking joke. In the Snyder Cut, he's the fucking hero of the movie. I mean, obviously Superman, gets spotlight, but, without the Flash, Superman's fucking evaporated. So, it just shows you how, like, 2 different directors can take, and like I said, the Justice, ruins both Cyborg and Flash, which, in the bigger picture, these movies, this was all supposed to pan out to, then the Cyborg gets a movie, Flash gets a movie, everybody gets a fucking movie, like Oprah Winfrey. You get a car, you get a car.
It still got a movie. There's going to be a second one. We've already had 2 Wonder Woman movies. And then obviously there's going to be a Flash movie. There's not going to be a Cyborg one now because they got rid of him.
Well, and it's because Ray Fisher was so soured on working with fucking the Joss Whedon, he doesn't want to come back. Right. But we say that now. I bet you heard it here first or whatever. I think we're going to have a Cyborg movie because the new hashtag, because see, this whole movie comes on the premise of it was such a social media movement, that Warner Brothers could not ignore the fact that all these people wanted to release this. Well, now the new thing is restore the Snyderverse. A lot of people in the hashtag, and I've seen people were like, I've seen posts where people like, okay, at this specific time on this specific day, everyone at this specific time tweet restore the Snyderverse. Like it trends on Twitter and shit like that. So restore the Snyderverse. So I think since they kind of bent to restoring the Zack Snyder's cut, that I think if people keep pushing for restore the Snyderverse, we'll get a proper Cyborg movie. The Flash movie was already kind of in effect. Having Michael Keaton and shit.
What was it? I think last week when this came out, or was it a week? Whenever it came out, he had stated that after Warner Media did their investigation, they really didn't do anything for him.
Yeah.
So I don't think that's what's going to happen, but.
But I know he's a respectable Broadway actor. You give him a fat paycheck, and I'll have a Cyborg. Is it wishful thinking?
Man.
Yeah, but
I think he's kind of burned his bridges. I don't know what happened, so I can't sit here and say, okay, well, he's going way too hard on this. I don't know that for sure. I don't know if he is. I don't know if it's. I don't know what it is. I'll be honest with you.
And especially since the Snyder Cut did him justice. Pun not intended. Especially since the Snyder Cut gave us a sympathetic character with Cyborg, it sets up his whole universe. It sets him up to have his own movie and stuff. He'd be leaving money on the table if he fucking decides not to. And maybe he's sensitive. Look at, if they changed actors for they got the new actor to play the Hulk, they got a new actor to play War Machine, so, if he doesn't fucking want it, I'm pretty sure, they could take the guy, they have the guy who played War Machine in the first Avengers, the guy from, Hustle and Flow, let him be the new Cyborg. I'm making a joke there, but I'm just saying is that, okay, there's one scene, the Justice League, there's one scene in the Justice, which is it was a funny scene, which I wasn't in the Zack Snyder version. And once again, I think the Zack Snyder, they purposefully did not use anything that Joss Whedon shot. But the scene where Aquaman accidentally sits on Wonder Woman's lasso of truth, and he starts saying, like, I'm fucking scared. We're about to fight this guy. We have no idea what the fuck we're doing. And like the lasso of truth, like, he reveals how fucking scared that he is. When he's through the whole movie, he's always this big tough cool guy and shit like that. But the lasso of truth makes him say, like, oh shit, I'm fucking, we're gonna get our asses handed to us. I thought that I loved that particular scene. That was the one, like, I think redeeming quality of the Justice League. So
yeah,
I mean, of course they didn't use it as Justice. I would have liked to have that scene or Zack Snyder do a version of that, because I thought that was pretty fucking funny.
I mean, that's kind of what I'm saying. Like, there's some things in the Joss Whedon movie that are like, okay, this makes sense. But then there's other things, like, for example, when they go into the Batcave, they make the Batcave to be like this huge thing, when in reality, the Batcave is separate from this hangar that Bruce Wayne has for his big toy there. So it's like, okay, why did you do that? Why did you combine the two? That doesn't make any sense. So I don't know if you noticed that.
Yeah, I mean, now that you say it, yeah, I know. Now I noticed, but yeah, that supposed to be, it was different. I mean, I liked it. It took me 3 chunks to watch the whole thing. Like, I didn't sit 4 hours. That being said, it's not like I didn't want to watch it, where it's like, just came up. You know what I'm saying? Like, I was watching it, I'm like, oh, I gotta, my daughter was like on like her lunch break, so I needed to make her something to eat. So, school, like, oh, I gotta make her something to eat. And then I watched a little bit more, and then like I kind of got distracted. So like, and it got to the point where, like, I was enjoying it so much, I was distracted. I'm like, you know what? Let me not be distracted. Let me stop the movie now, and I'll watch it when I'm done doing what I have to do. Take care of.
Right.
So, I mean, it was 4 hours, but it didn't feel like 4 hours, in my opinion. And once again, I took, I watched it in 3 chunks. And they did have, like, all the act breaks, if you want to call them that. Every time I went to like a chapter, were all logistical parts. If you're a kind of person who you could have stopped the movie at that particular I just stopped it because the shit came of real life happened to fucking turn off the movie. I enjoyed it. I think it's a great flick, and I kind of posted on Facebook, I very much like the ultimate cut of Batman v Superman. It was sort of like this deal with Zack Snyder. Like, he put out one version and people did not like Batman v Superman in the theaters. And then he put out the ultimate cut, which sort of like answered a lot of questions of,
the ultimate cut was a lot better. I will say that I've seen that version.
And if we lived in a world where he made the movie without any interruptions, they probably would have released one version in theaters.
Well,
for a second bite at the apple, then release this ultimate Zack Snyder cut, or whatever you want to call it, on fucking Blu-ray afterwards.
Well,
so all the super fans.
He left out. There was a Green Lantern scene, and he left that out, actually.
Mm-hmm. Well, I think spoilers. I mean, the Martian Manhunter scene could have been anybody. Like, at the end, when you're watching it, like, you could have edited that scene and made it the Green Lantern. I in my opinion, someone had mentioned it, and I'm like, yeah, you're right. If you really, really, really watch that scene, because you have Ben Affleck in one picture, and then some person that he's talking to floating, that could have been Green Lantern, and that could have been the what most people would have preferred to know, the Jon Stewart Green Lantern, and not Hal Jordan.
Yeah.
But yeah, and it gives us, and of course, when these movies had we lived in a world where Zack Snyder finished the movie, Warner Brothers were planning to do a Green Lantern core movie, where it was supposed to have like all the Green Lanterns, supposed to be like Hal Jordan and Jon Stewart, and I don't know if they have like was it Kyle Rayner, whatever.
Yeah.
They would have had, it would have been a Green Lantern core movie. Core movie where it would have addressed all the Green Lanterns. I enjoyed it. All right. Anything else before we move on?
No, I think I said everything. I just I would have.
I enjoyed it. I don't for a 4-hour movie, it was pretty good.
I don't know if they'll. If they do restore it, it'll be something probably for HBO Max, honestly.
Mm-hmm.
So
and now there is the big push for restore the Snyderverse. Let's see where we go with that. Once again, I think we'll have a Cyborg movie. I mean, you can quote me on that. Flash, they're still working on the Flash movie that will have Michael Keaton, his version. And okay, here's one last thing, and it's sort of once a spoiler if you want. The end of Justice League ends in this what they call the Nightmare timeline. where it's in the future, and it's like Batman and Deathstroke and the Joker and Mira and a couple other characters and like Flash, and it's a nightmare scenario where Superman turns evil. Where he's like, I don't know if I saw it in a screenshot or it was an actual movie where he's holding like the burn charred remains of Lois Lane and shit, with like Darkseid standing over his shoulder and shit. So,
that was in. I'm trying to remember it. Where was that in the movie? It was in the Zack Snyder Cut, but I can't remember where it was exactly. But there was a part where, that's where he was screaming, like, no, like, you know what I mean? So, yeah, I mean...
Well, yeah, I mean, that's part of the nightmare timeline where Superman, like, Lois Lane dies and, Superman is, like, holding her, like, dead body or whatever. But I think, like, Darkseid, like, convinces him that it was one of the Justice League or somebody, like,
no,
it's not...
So what happens is he uses, if you remember from the Snyder Cut, he uses, what the hell is it called? The
Life equation?
Yes.
Life equation.
Yeah, he uses the equation. Basically, he can't use the equation unless, like, Superman's, like, out of it. And what better way to get him out of it than kill his girlfriend? So.
Oh, okay.
So that's why it made sense. But I don't know about you. Now that I think about it, the one thing another thing I didn't like about Zack Snyder's Justice League was this whole setup of Lois being pregnant, but if there was another Justice League, it would have been Bruce's kid. And I'm just sitting there going, no. I didn't like that. I don't know about you, but I was just like, that didn't.
Yeah, I wasn't a big fan. I mean,
yeah, I was kind of like, I don't get why. Like, you could, like, let's be honest, you could easily insert Superman's kid in there. That's not. Let's not like think that this would be the final thing, but it just.
Zach likes to make shit fucking darker than it fucking needs to be. In my opinion.
Yeah, I mean that's what I was saying. I mean, it definitely feels it feels way darker than it needs to be. You know what I mean? Like so like that's why I kind of wanted to have. I guess that's kind of the reason why I kind of wanted to have both. Because I'd like to see like how they would, if you were to take some of the scenes that Josh did, mold it with the Zack Snyder cut, do about a theatrical cut that would probably be about, in my view, probably about a 3 to 3.5 hour version. Like it would be great, it'd be wonderful. You know what I mean? And it just seemed like, I don't know, like the other thing that killed me was like, oh well, Cyborg's father had to die so that they could track the cube. But in the Josh version, he's searching the globe using satellite and finds it because it's putting out so much energy. And I'm like, that makes more sense than having his father die so they can track the cube. Like I was just like, I'm like that. I think that was an
Zack Snyder and is being overly dramatic.
Yeah, and you know what? Honestly, like if I remember correctly, in the comic, his father doesn't die. Like doesn't die at least right away. Like
yeah,
and I thought that was
Cyborg spends like the rest of his life trying to like prove himself.
Right, and I think that would have been a better idea than what Zach was going for. But it is what it is. So
yeah. And now that being said, and this is it's funny I said we'll move on, but okay, so the movie was also shot in 4:3, which is people feel was because the movie was going to be in IMAX.
Yes.
But what's not to say that once theaters start opening that they won't.
No, he is actually doing. There's actually some articles out there where he's going to be doing screenings. Some are going to be in color, some are going to be in that famous black and white.
Oh, that's chrome, whatever.
And they're all going to be like charity screens apparently. So
yeah, I mean, I'm just saying is even if you did it for like a weekend or something, or you do it like, what do they call those, the events where they have it at movies?
Yeah, I think they were talking about doing that possibly as well.
Yeah, I mean, I'm pretty sure you have a nice little fucking payday. Yeah, whatever you want to do if you want to give it to charity. But I'm just saying is, if you say Snyder Cut in theaters, in IMAX this particular weekend, people will show the fuck up. Or you put on a Tuesday so it doesn't interrupt whatever's in the box office that week. People will show up on a fucking Tuesday to watch a 4-hour movie in IMAX.
They said that the 4-hour movie will be there'll be an intermission in the middle, so it's not like you can't just take a break. So that's a good part about it as well. But yeah, I mean it's going to be It'll be interesting to see, honestly, if anything gets restored.
And as we move forward, I mean, like we've already mentioned the Flash movie. We know somewhere down the line we're going to get an Aquaman. I mean, I know they say restore the Snyderverse and everything like that, and that's all fine and good, but it's not like the Snyderverse really went away. I mean, we have the new Suicide Squad movie that the trailer had come out. We could talk about that in a second. But there's also like the Black Adam movie. You don't have Black Adam without, we had the Shazam movie, which doesn't necessarily give us. Black Adam doesn't necessarily come. I mean, it comes from Shazam. It is just a Shazam movie. But I mean, even with Shazam, with that little fake out bullshit excuse to have the Superman cameo at the end, where they kind of, so these movies are still kind of connected. Maybe not in the way that we want to be connected, but and maybe like when they say restore the Snyderverse is like bring back Batman, but it's not like they're slowing down with making movies that are somewhat connected to the universe. We have the Suicide Squad movie. James Gunn, I think they're doing a show with John Cena with the character that he's playing in the Suicide Squad. That's going to be like a show on HBO Max. And one of the big announcements this past week was Black Adam. They've announced the release date, which is July 29th, 2022. So it's sort of these movies are all kind of related. So I mean, I understand people when they say restore the Snyderverse. I mean, they really mean bring back Superman, Batman, and shit. I think let's see where this goes. And the Flash movie is going to be obvious. The Flash movie is going to get heat because it has Michael Keaton like that. So
right.
Let's move forward, and then whatever they do with Wonder Woman and shit. Okay. Speaking of the Suicide Squad trailer, the Suicide Squad, as opposed to Suicide Squad from a couple of years ago, still has Harley Quinn in it. Still has Rick Flag. Still has who else? I think it was Rick Flag. And Amanda Waller. So I mean, like, three of the main players are in this one. They're bringing in a bunch of people. The poster goes, "Don't get attached." I mean, I think they brought in all these characters because they're gonna kill everybody. Everybody but Margot Robbie.
John
Idris Elba, John Cena, and like everyone else is gonna fucking die in that movie. That's why it's called The Suicide. They
maybe not
don't get
shark,
attached.
Maybe not that shark.
Oh, King Shark. And so they have. So they did the motion capture with Stephen Agee. He's the guy in the commercials like, oh my god, we got a fucking kaiju. The guy with the glasses and beard. But they got the voice to be Sylvester Stallone. Yeah. Sylvester Stallone is the voice of King Shark. So that's kind of funny. And they're doing like a stupid King Shark, which I saw in the comics. Like King Shark was maybe not the sharpest tool in the shed, but he was like vicious and mean. And they're kind of doing like the dim-witted sort of like, like he could be mean when he wants to be, but he's not that bright. And I guess, which kind of goes right up there with Sylvester Stallone. But I mean, like, I like my King Shark to be more like, I'm going to kill everything that moves. And then, then mentioning the kaiju from Suicide Squad, they're actually bringing the Starro character, which was like an early Superman, like from the comics and Superman and shit like that, which is just so funny that, this character, and it's so stupid. It's just a big giant fucking alien star, but he's making it the kaiju in the movie. But it's funny because like I was watching the trailer and it's sort of like, okay, you got John Cena, because it's James Gunn, the guy who did Guardians of the Galaxy. So you got John Cena, who's a former wrestler. Well, he also had Bautista in Guardians of the Galaxy. What was the character? Rat Trap or Rat Catcher 2, which was like this like weird fuzzy CGI character, which reminds me of Rocket Raccoon. The big kaiju star reminds me of like the monster they're fighting in the beginning of Guardians of the Galaxy Part 2, the weird alien that Bautista like goes in and starts stabbing from the inside. So it feels weird that there's sort of like this, James Gunn is Michael Rooker, the Michael Rooker's in Suicide Squad, but then I think Michael Rooker's like in every James Gunn movie, but he plays, Yondu in Guardians of the Galaxy, but now they have him as a character in this movie. So, I mean, it's very much a James Gunn movie, and, it's people are going to love it. Like, I have a feeling people are going to like it. I think I'm going to like it. I'm a fanboy. They already sold my ticket, so, looking forward to that. Okay, I guess we could kind of just quick shoot this other stuff. Earlier we had mentioned Joss Whedon. I guess I'm glad I never got into the show Buffy the Vampire Slayer. I had friends that fucking loved that show. But now finding out years later that Joss Whedon's a piece of shit, hey, I'm glad I never got into it. Since the last episode that we recorded, WandaVision came and went. I loved the show altogether. It kind of broke my heart that like all the fucking theories that we had each week of like, oh, now it's a multiverse, and oh, now they're gonna bring in the X-Men, and oh, this and this and that. Unfortunately, all those fan theories were just thrown out the fucking window by Marvel. And not that, I mean, it doesn't make me mad. That's my fault for sort of getting way into it. But it's kind of funny now. As we're recording this, we're like 2 episodes in the Falcon and Winter Soldier, which. Really fucking, I mean, I'm enjoying the first 2 episodes. If you want a spoiler or whatever, they've introduced U.S. Agent, is sort of like going to be, it's sort of like the replacement for Captain America.
Yeah.
Where like, Falcon Falcon sort of gives up the shield. He's, he feels that he's not up. Even though Steve Rogers says you're the, I give you the shield, Falcon doesn't feel up to it. He gives the shield that goes into the fucking Smithsonian, and then the U.S. government just grabs this other dude and says, okay, hey, fine, you're the new Captain America now. And it's supposed to be, it's highly decorated Marine, not Marine, actually, guy, and soldier, guy in the service, and then but like he doesn't have super soldiers. He's just a dude. But once again, it's the shield belongs to the U.S. government. They can do whatever the fuck they want. And especially since Falcon kind of gave it up, they have this character. They have these characters, the bad guys, and these guys, the Flag Smashers. They're against governments. They don't want the government. They don't want the world to have any boundaries, no borders. It's sort of, in my opinion, it kind of reminds me of like that. It kind of reminds me of like Anonymous. They all raid a place, and then like everybody gets a mask. So when the cops show up, they don't know the fuck. There's more people with masks sort of convince, the people that are sort of like the acolytes of the Flag Smashers, to help out the main guys. They all wear masks and shit so the cops don't know who to arrest and shit. They introduced, they had the character, which in the Marvel comics, it was supposed to be, it's basically like there was a Captain America before Captain America. They were testing out the super soldier serum on a black guy, and it's sort of like loosely based on like the experiments. And so like it's like he was Captain America before Captain America was Captain America, and they sort of and then they kind of disavowed him and all this shit. So he's kind of pissed off, but then again he still has a super he's still he's still super strong and shit like that. And how the Falcon he disappeared in the blip. And then comes back, and then he can't even get a fucking loan because like, oh, you haven't worked for the past 5 years. Well, the fuck, I was part of the blip. I mean, the banks. But then again, I said if that shit was for real, banks would be legit be like that. Banks would be like, you don't have any income, so we can't. I don't have any income because I was in another plane of existence.
You don't have an income, so fuck you.
Yeah. Mm-hmm. So it's sort of, and it's like people nowadays long story short, I was looking to see if I could take out some money so I could buy a new car, and and they're like, oh, we need 2 copies of your paychecks. I'm like, well, I don't have paychecks, but I do have employment. That's my paycheck. I could bring you proof of that. And they said, no, I'm going to give you a fun loan.
Yeah,
you don't have, that's not employment.
Yeah, they short story, like we're trying to get a car, and because I'm on unemployment, not working, even though I'm furloughed, they won't let you take a loan out. And I'm like, that's really stupid. How are people supposed to buy stuff if you do it that way? You know what I mean? So
yeah. So I mean, I think the show, all these shows were filmed over a year ago. It wasn't necessarily meant to be exactly like that was going on today, but fucking oddly enough, it fucking fits. That so if you're on unemployment, you're you're not a human. And then they had, so in the second episode, there's this line that a lot of people are swear Falcon and which of fighting. Oh, there's the big 3. What's the big 3? Aliens, androids, and wizards. And so I thought that was kind of cute, whatever. But one thing, when they're trying to think of people, superpowered people, aliens, androids, wizards, the one thing they don't have, mutants. We don't have mutants in this universe yet. So I really hope they come back to that line some other time in the future. Aliens, androids, wizards, but that's just me being.
I'll forgive
you. Then so we have WandaVision, we have Falcon and Winter Soldier. After that is going to be Loki. Things are still up in the air. Obviously, we don't know what Loki's going to be about, but pretty much right around the time Loki finishes, around June, July, then they're going to drop the Black Widow movie, which is supposed to come out last year. But kept getting pushed back because of COVID and shit like that. The one thing I don't like is that they're doing that shit where you have to pay the $30 for it.
Mm-hmm.
Like they did with Mulan, like they're doing right now with Raya, the Last Dragon. I hate them because I'm going to pay that $30. I'm the asshole that's sort of going to ruin everybody because
you're not going to go to the movie theater and watch it?
Oh, well, in July? Do you think movie theaters will be open by July?
Oh, yeah.
Oh, I mean, I really have to feel that one out. I have to feel that one out. But I mean, I'll go see it in the theaters if the theaters are open. But you know, they're charging $30.
I mean, but see, that's the thing. Like, it won't be $30. You'll be paying what? You'll be paying like $10 instead of like $30. You know what I mean?
Yeah, I know. I get what you're saying.
And that's kind of like some theater chains when it comes to Disney are kind of like, I mean, are you really gonna go pay $30 when you can pay $10 to go into a theater? They're kind of banking on that most people aren't going to do that, but we'll see. So.
Yeah. And it shows you that, like, in my mind, I didn't even think that it will be in July. I mean, for the industry, yes, I hope they're open. But in my mind, I wasn't thinking about that.
Yeah.
But you know, so they got that. Okay, the last couple on Amazon, and it's funny because like not that I'm like super duper anti-Amazon, but you know, sort of like, you know, I was having a conversation with someone because they were like, you know, there was a thing, or there was a movement online to boycott Amazon Week or whatever, and it's like I don't buy anything on. I kind of went through my history, and I swear to God, in the past like 10 years, I've probably ordered maybe 6 things from Amazon, and usually it's because it was things that I could only get on Amazon. The person's like, you know, here's the Amazon link, whatever. I get shit off of like eBay and Walmart.com. I mean, Walmart has blood on hands also, and like Wish.com. But you know, there's people, like, their lives become like Wall-E. You know, there's the people who like they've become so dependent on Amazon, you know, and they're getting the Amazon batteries, and they're getting Amazon, you know, what they call Amazon essentials, like, you know, you get your paper plates, and you know, Amazon has become an industry in and of itself where, you know, perfected getting shit to people's houses, where they just cut out. They learned how people's spending habits and buying habits, and then have cut out those companies and started making shit on their own and saying fuck you. And not to mention how the Amazon centers horribly treat their employees. You know, where people are pissing in bottles and shit. Like Amazon's got to find a way to monetize people pissing in bottles.
Yeah,
get a free bottle of piss with the with the overnight Amazon Prime Amazon batteries. But that being said, Amazon does send me screeners, you know, because we have the press pass through Comic-Con. So they sent me the first 3 episodes of that show Invincible.
Mm-hmm.
And actually they sent me the first 4 episodes because I just got an email the other day. But I mean, I got the first 3 was in one drop, and now in the next episode. I do have to say, even it's on Amazon Prime, the service. Invincible, based on the comic or whatever. Really fucking holy shit.
I don't know, man. Like I saw that one scene, and I mean, it's already out on social media, so it's not really a spoiler, but where that version of Superman, which it's not really Superman, it's somebody else, but he kills like all the heroes in one like thing, and I'm just like, I don't know about this, dude.
Well, that's okay. So, I mean, and this is not really spoiling anything. It's sort of, you know, it's a kid who's sort of the son of Superman.
Okay.
And then, like, you know, he hits his puberty, and then, like, now he starts having superpowers. So he's sort of like, you know, and he's doing what he can, 'cause his dad proud of him, like that. And then, I never read the comic, so I'm not familiar with it. His father just totally, and you know, and it's supposed to be, yes, that's supposed to be Superman. I mean, you know, it's like legally not Superman, but yes, it's Superman. Superman kills the whole Justice League, which kind of blends in with the end of the Snyder Cut of the Justice League, where, yeah, you know, he kills everyone, and it's so fucking brutal. He starts, you know, he's fucking ripping people in half, and fucking snapping necks, and fucking hitting people in the fucking head with giant fucking hammers and shit like that. So, and it's sort of like, it's this whole, like, what would make Superman flip out? And it's the whole thing is that, like, it's like a murder mystery. Like, why did Superman kill the whole Justice League? And, like, people are sort of starting to, because he doesn't make it known that it's him. He kills them, and it kind of goes back to Superman. And so, like, I think that's the whole mystery of, like, maybe it wasn't him, maybe it was someone pretending to be him, you know, maybe it was mind control, maybe it was, you know, it's sort of, I think that's the mystery. And okay, and I guess, I'm not going to say the spoiler. The funny thing is, the first episode, there's not a drop of fucking blood in the first episode. The first episode is like this weirdly innocent fucking, it's like nothing it's not nothing happens, a lot of stuff happens, but it seems like on the level. And then episode 2 is fucking ridiculously bloody and shit like that. And then it continues to be fucking bloody and crazy and ridiculous. So, I mean, I hope that didn't spoil it for anybody, but I say give it a shot, even though it's under fucking evil Jeff Bezos. And one day we'll all be, you know, worshiping him as a god, and as he steps on fucking humanity's neck. But Invincible is a really good show. And speaking of things that are on Amazon, Coming to America. Did you see that? The
No,
Coming
I
to America
don't.
Part
I don't
2
use.
or Coming to?
I don't
you don't use Prime?
Amazon, so I haven't seen it, unfortunately.
Well, I watched it off a legal site, because the Invincible stuff.
Of course you did.
Invincible I got because we have press pass, so we're on mailing lists, so I get the screener for, and it's not, I say screener, it's basically they give you a link to a website, and unfortunately I can't share it with anybody because my email address is across the fucking screen. But yeah, Coming to America, I'm not gonna lie, I watched it on the bootleg site, so I don't have to give Amazon any of my money. I dug it. There's a lot of fucking people hated it, and it was I don't think it would have done well in theaters. But if you're already paying for Amazon Prime, it was very cute. It kind of brought back so many characters in the first movie. It was very charming. It was very fun. And it's all about Prince sort of he finds out he has an illegitimate son. That he had he fucked a girl before he met the woman that would eventually be his wife, and got that girl pregnant. And when he finally did get married, he had 3 daughters. So and he kind of wants a male heir, and even his father, the father tells him only a male can inherit the throne or whatever. So he kind of brings, and the guy who acted as the son, they could have gotten anybody to play that character. That guy had no fucking personality whatsoever. I wish, because I remember years ago hearing that what's his name? Kevin Hart. I heard Kevin Hart was supposed to be in the Coming to America movie. And of course, it would have been weird to have Kevin Hart play Eddie Murphy's son, but maybe, you could have made that movie a little different where, it's not like a young son, but, and have, had you had Kevin Hart play that character or something, it would have been, I think it would have made the movie a lot better. Then again, I don't think Kevin Hart's ego right now, he would not play Eddie Murphy's son in the movie. I think he would, it would be an insult or whatever, especially Kevin Hart talks shit about Eddie Murphy, when it comes to doing comedy and stuff like that. Eddie Murphy's sort of yeah, wait till I come out, and Eddie Murphy was supposed to come out last year in COVID, before COVID hit, 2020 was supposed to Eddie Murphy was supposed to do a bunch of, he was supposed to tour, and it was supposed to be his big comeback, and, it would have been a different movie if Kevin Hart played his son. The character that the guy's totally forgettable. I couldn't tell you before the guns. But the movie in and of itself, because it brought back pretty much all the characters in the first movie, and it was fun and it was cute. And then there's the whole girl power thing of his daughters have every right to be the heirs to the throne, even though they're not men. And so that was kind of cool like that. So. If you haven't watched it, give it a shot. I don't have Amazon. I don't have Amazon, so go right ahead, stream it off in the league. And I think that's it. Anything you want to add before we wrap this up?
No, that's it.
All right, so let's wrap it up.
That's it.
That's it. Please visit twostrangersonepodcast.net and .com. You can find all links to things show related. You can find a link to our iTunes page, iPhone, iPad, iPod.
Oh, wait a minute.
Did I say? What did I say?
No. I'm going to interrupt you with some breaking news. Adult Swim's doing their April Fool's joke, and they dropped it as Adult Swim Junior.
Oh shit!
This is hilarious.
And because we are recording, it's literally midnight now.
So it just came across. Right, it's hilarious. There's a stream, but I'm gonna have to look at it and see what it's doing. So that's hilarious. That is fucking hilarious.
Look, the world we fucking live in. I can't. I'm not ready for any fucking surprises right about it. Oh, well, I didn't, to be honest, I haven't even seen it yet, but I believe they also dropped the trailer for Rick and Morty Season 5.
Oh, they did,
which I haven't, funny thing, I haven't even seen it yet. I've seen screenshots, but I haven't even watched it, but it's sort of it's not like good. I'm not gonna watch it.
It looks good, but yeah. I'll watch Rick and Morty all day long, so continue what you think, sorry.
Yeah. All I saw, the one thing I did see that looked kind of cool is that there's they're doing a Voltron parody. They're doing a world of Rick and Summer and me and the parents and his daughter going into, and when I say Voltron, because all their heads do have the tigers on the top of their heads. So that, once again, it's Rick and Morty. It's not So, okay, please visit twostrangersonepodcast.com and .net. You find links to everything. If you have an iPhone, iPad, or iPod, you can find links to our iTunes page. Subscribe to us there for your iTunes. If you don't have an iPhone, iPad, or iPod, you have an Android device, you can find us on Stitcher app. That's STITCHER, the Stitcher app for Android devices. And I say that, I've been saying that for years. It's actually for all devices. I say Android because as opposed to don't have iTunes. You can find everything on Stitcher app. You find Smodcast and all these other ones. And, of course, Paul's other big, the Toonami Film podcast, are all available on Stitcher app. And if you want to just cut out the middleman and go right to the source, you can find us on SoundCloud. Just go on SoundCloud, search for Two Strangers One Podcast. You find I make every episode downloadable. You can load us straight from SoundCloud. I don't know if you can subscribe to it, but if you want to subscribe to us, it's on Stitcher and on iTunes. But if you want to find each individual episode, you can download them directly from SoundCloud. We've been doing this. We've been on SoundCloud for over 4 years, because one of our first episodes on SoundCloud was right before Trump got elected. So we've been on SoundCloud for about 4 years. If you want anything before that, you can go to YouTube. Just go on YouTube and search for Two Strangers One Podcast, and you'll find all the 5 years of stuff before that. Before we left the other site, Podomatic was garbage, and then topped over to SoundCloud. And SoundCloud has been good to us. We want your money. We need your money. And I still haven't set up a Patreon or like that, or only. But until then, you can like and subscribe us on Facebook. Just go on Facebook and like and subscribe. Two Strangers One Podcast. Like our page, share our page, like this episode, share this episode. It takes 2 seconds to do it. And once again, we want your money, but if you can't give us a dime, at least you can support the show by sharing it and liking our page. If you want to write to us, you can write strangersonepodcast@gmail.com. That's strangersonepodcast, all spelled out, email. And as I'm recording this, I'm gonna go see if we have any new emails from super fan Oscar, Face of the Earth. Maybe he got COVID and died. I don't know. Those aren't as good and developed in Peru. Let me see what else. You can find links to my book, Double Jackpot, which you'll hear a commercial later. You can find. Oh shit, we do have an Oscar letter. Holy shit.
Oh shit, okay.
Okay. Hey, and this was from, this is in the middle of March. Okay, I'm still around. I haven't had much to write about since the shows are so sporadic now. You would think COVID that there'd be daily shows. However, true Chris fashion, you're lazier than ever. Dude, is there any quality control? You're dying slowly. I'm sure COVID has you over 400 pounds now as your lungs struggle to keep you going. The sound of your sleep apnea breaths drown them out. Oh shit, so okay. And I swear to God, I done episode 316-17. The sound is deafening for the hell of it. Go to the mark. Paul talk, because your sleep apnea breath drowns them out. There's also horrible static. Dude, get your shit together. You're just home eating yourself to slow death. At least you do is not mouth breathing. I swear to God, he said this shit before I had a chance to fucking figure. Paul, congrats on pregnancy. Good to know you gotten laid at least twice in your life. Maybe you should make a Brady show, have her 3 kids, and you're soon to. That would be sweet. Chris can be the obese uncle living in the basement. Luckily, Chris has little no chance of procreating again. To hear you talk about dating sites and me laugh, do you think any female would look at the profile and say, yeah, I want that inside me? Anyway, thank you for feeling so much better about myself. Holy shit, he's still alive. So that was good to hear from. So he's still around. And it's, God. I swear to God.
What do we do with this dude?
Yeah. So you can write to us and write us other letters just like that. Two Strangers One Podcast @gmail.com. Wow, it makes things a little around. Okay. See, what else is there? I can't think of anything else. I acquiesced for you, sir.
You're so in. You can't even think about what to say. Let's see. So you can find me on Twitter @Skrillo. You can email me paulpascrillo @toonamifaithful.com. And if you're on the Toonami Faithful Discord, you can add Paul Pascrillo me there. And we've started to put some of the Toonami Faithful podcast interviews up on our YouTube, so please check that out if you guys would as well. So, yeah.
All right. I was so happy to get an Oscar letter. I don't know if I had anything else to talk about. We're on Twitter @Stranger Podcast. You could listen to Odyssey, my audiobook on Tale from the Road, Odyssey, A Tale from the Road, and all the old episodes on YouTube. You can listen to my music that I made under the name XLNYC, and also Instagram, all under Two Strangers One Podcast. Search that on. All right. We certainly hope you guys enjoyed listening. As much fun recording as we did. Thank you for listening to Two Strangers One Podcast. I'm Chris.
I'm Paul.
Don't be a stranger.
Peace.
Bye. You should be fapping.
All right, here we go, man. Go ahead. You want to read
Double Jackpot.
What is it?
It is a self-published book by Christopher Cologne.
Chris Cologne smells good to me.
But
look at her. That broke that fucking cold little exterior. He's like, hee.
But it is spelled C-O-L-O-N.
Him punny.
But Double Jackpot is a book about a comic book artist, Eric, who is in a loveless relationship with the materialistic
I feel you, Eric.
Lynette.
Oh, fucking. Are you sure I didn't write this? Sounds hauntingly familiar.
He starts cheating on his girlfriend with a more creatively supportive woman, Nadia.
Well, I gotta meet her. Where's the Nadia?
There's your summer girlfriend.
Summer Nadia is Nadia.
Nadia?
Yeah, I think Nadia spelled with an A.
All right.
Both Lynette and Nadia play the double jackpot, the largest payout in lotto history, much like the recent Powerball. Both girls play his birth date as the winning numbers. Eric is now stuck between two of the country's richest women. Who will he choose? It's not that simple. This is a clever fucking idea,
Yeah,
man.
it is.
Look at her, fucking. She's impressed.
I am.
She got some summer reading. Christopher Cologne smells real lovely with an original idea. This is. I've never heard this before.
I haven't either. This is a self-published book, much in the indie spirit as Kev's Clerks.
Oh, you don't even need to name check me. This is just a good idea. You could stand on your own, man. You don't even have to be like, hey, remember Clerks? This is nothing like that. This is way more original than Clerks. This is a good idea, man. Why didn't I think of this?
I need something to read. This book is part of the Comic Books, Heavy Metal, Video Games Trilogy Book 2. Odd I See, A Tale from the Road, coming soon.
Right on, man. It's part of a trilogy. This is the first part.
Way to write, man.
He's seeking a literary agent. Motherfuckers, anybody out there? There ain't no literary agents listening to this show, I assure you, sure. Sure. I assure you, sure. But somebody know a literary agent? Hook a motherfucker up! Chris Cologne come up with an original idea. I should tell Raskin. That's a good fucking idea, to be honest with you. That's a fucking rom-com right there. Megan, get Raskin on the phone. Isn't it possible to get Raskin on the phone? No?
Yeah.
I want to run it past him, man. I want to, and if it happens, I get a taste, Chris Cologne. I get a whiff, if you will.
The book could also be ordered on www.lulu.com.
That's lulu.com.
I understand that. I just want to spell it out.
Normally one says it, that spells it. Still, lulu.com. What is that? Do you know what it is?
I don't know. All right. The book could also be ordered on www.lulu.com. Search for Double Jackpot Christopher Cologne. A paperback version of the book is $15, and a PDF file is only $5.
$5 is
Yeah.
insanely inexpensive. 15's not even that bad for a paperback version.
No.
This is $1 million idea right here. Like a movie about a dude who fucking is stuck between two chicks, both of who play his birthday and win the lottery. Come on! I can see that trailer. Chris Cologne is on to something. Nobody else can smell it but me.
I'll read it.
Thank you. I'm going to make that smelly joke.
I know. You're trying to get me to laugh again.
It worked once. Double Jackpot is a self-published book by Chris Cologne, man. It's the first book in his Comic Books, Heavy Metal, Video Games trilogy. Book 2, Odd I See, A Tale from the Road, should be coming out soon. Get all the information at Chris Cologne, like a motherfucker.
I will
his
totally
book,
read this.
Double Jackpot. I'm serious. I'm going to recommend that to fucking Raskin. How is that not a movie? You know what I'm saying? This could be a sexy movie. You could do an R-rated version. There could be nudie in it, and you could show them fucking both chicks. Maybe a little penetration. Maybe a butthole shot. No butthole, no care.
I would like to formally apologize to Christopher Cologne right now.
No, sex sells. Chris Cologne will appreciate that. He's like, thanks for throwing a few buttholes in there, man.
Don't forget to check out twostrangersonePodcast.net, your one-stop resource for everything show-related. You can find links to subscribe to us on iTunes or on Stitcher. You could also find links to buy my book, Double Jackpot, on twostrangersonePodcast.net.
Fuck you, fuck you, fuck you. You're cool. And fuck you, I'm out.